Did you
So
know that Google Chrome um, has a server? And do you know what their server name is?
hit me with it.
Do you know? Their
I have no
server
idea.
name is Adrenal.
You know, it's so funny the sort
I'm
of
gonna just
things
leave
that
that
they'll
there.
do. Hey man, sometimes because what I came across many years ago is that basically, from my understanding, the reason that they have to telegraph a lot of times what they do is in an attempt to offload the karmic debt in the event that they get recycled into another life and they don't, kind of move up to the next tier of things. And so by
Mhm.
communicating the information, there's kind of this universal law of no, we gave them the information, then they made their own decision. We didn't
Correct.
coerce anybody.
Correct. Actually, that is 100% correct. It goes against the laws of free will.
Hmm.
So this is one of the reasons why, um, in my opinion, why Jesus was more profound with the follow me portion was because it's one thing to preach and be able to talk, but if he criticized for what others were doing, which in some cases he had to battle that, right? But in my opinion, the whole follow me thing was more so an action of like, if you are following me, you are now choosing to take the information that I am giving you because you're accepting, like you're choosing to come to class. Follow me. Great. I'm going to show up to class. You don't like the information that class was given. That's not on me. That is on you because you chose to listen to the information. You chose to accept the information. Um, from there, I mean, the devil's the great deceiver. And it's kind of interesting if you look at any picture of Baphomet the devil, whatever depiction. There's one funny picture of the devil where he's sitting down, and of course he's got the goat head, and it's all this symbology, right? And there's two kids in front, a male and a female, and they're got chains on their ankle, but the chain is kind of connected to like a spoke. And the kids, if they wanted to, they can just take the chain off and just go wherever they want. So a it's a feeling like you're trapped in, but you're really not. You can eliminate as much as possible. You can let go and you can walk away whenever you'd like to, but it has to be, your choice. You have to be the one that really kind of accepts that information. I think that's where a lot of people get very manipulated now because we're so far down a rabbit hole of information that because people have never wanted to research stuff before, the the battle between disinformation, misinformation, and truth is so out there that it's created another series of confusion that the devil appreciates because he's like, I've done such a good job confusing you to begin with that by the time you end up getting with truth, you never worked on your own level of consciousness and you never worked on your own level of awareness. So it won't matter if you get the truth. It won't really matter if you get it because you like convenience more than you like truth. My dad says that a lot. He says that we're living in an age where we traded in God for convenience. And I told him the other day at dinner, I said, once all the convenience goes away, people are going to be begging for God again real quick.
And I think that takes us back to the conversation we had prior to really starting to record this episode about being in that in between phase before we reach this paradise where people have to suffer so greatly that then they start to realize, damn, I've been doing things in a way that I didn't have to do, or I maybe should change this or go about this in a different way. And that's when that dark night of the soul kicks off in mass. And then, once people kind of go through that and they have to find that light, it's like, yo, people ain't too busy looking for a light until it's dark. So,
Well, you cannot have, your brain is not going to be able to accept higher levels of consciousness unless you've understood deeper levels of pain, right? As is above, so is
so
below.
below, yeah.
So you have to, you can't just have frivolous hope without being like, no, there's a realization of some evil going on. There's a very deep realization of some evil. Like my mom does this quite a bit. She thinks that, and I do believe this. In one foul swoop, I think that all of humanity can raise the level of consciousness quite quickly, actually. But we would all need to like sit and meditate, like every time zone, every person across the world, you sit and meditate and think love for like 10 seconds to a minute. I would say that if 9 billion people opened their eyes after 1 minute of just thinking love, I have no idea where our planet would be, our society. Like I literally have no idea. But people don't want to do the shadow work. They don't want to end up doing that really deep level of work. And usually it takes something to happen for people to learn. So I'm going to bring in a COVID comment. It's probably going to get me unliked right here. So this is going to be cool. I've been thinking about saying this for a minute. So a lot of people were like, oh, COVID killed a bunch of lives, right? So we got COVID deaths in the beginning, right? It's all up here. But then, and correct me if I'm wrong, interrupt me if I'm wrong, heart disease, cancer, and all that stuff is dropping. Am I wrong so far?
Talk that shit.
So I don't know about heart disease and cancer and stuff dropping, but what was dropping was as COVID cases rose, flu cases, the common cold, rhinovirus, and all of RSV and all the rest of this stuff that has been overwhelmingly staggering for years and years and years, almost went away.
Right? So this is going up and this is going down. We do agree that COVID's going up and then other cases to a degree are...
The reporting is shifting. The balance is shifting, right? For at least reporting side. Mm-hmm.
This may be a little hard to swallow. I don't think that it goes for all people. I don't think it's for everyone or all cases. I really don't believe that whatsoever. What I do believe is that if there were people that had pre-existing conditions, okay, and COVID ended up coming up, and let's say COVID was the one that ended up taking their life, and all these other cases dropped, in my opinion, that person was going to go anyway. Hate saying it like that. I hate being like, hey, you were going to die anyway. Nope, I'm not taking my words back. I said what I said. If COVID and all this stuff was going up and we have all these pre-existing conditions and we have all this other stuff, and people have been warned for so long of like, hey, we have already had cancers. We've already had all these other diseases. We've already had all this other stuff. And we then get hit with a pandemic and people were begging to go back to normal. Bro, you got to have a high level of ignorance to want to go back to that shit, to want to go back to a whole level of like, we already have all these other different diseases and all this other stuff. So if the numbers of deaths really did not change overall, then plus the fact that we were killing our own, right? In 2020, I think there in the world, we had 47 million abortions. So at the end of the day, I'm like, we're not able to take care of our own coming in. And then we have this series of all these other diseases. When are we going to have something happen for people to make a change? And now 2 years into COVID, and a lot of people still haven't wanted to make changes. A lot of people still want to go back to normal. They want to go back to their old way of living. They want to go back to their old way of life. And this is a really hard pill to swallow. Like it happened with my, so it's not like I definitely wasn't reaping any of this. It happened to my dad. My dad knew that smoking could be really bad, right? We know that it causes cancer. We know that all those things cause it. He did it anyway. Boom, he had a stroke. I don't feel bad for him. Not one bit. It sucked. It was really tough. He made his bed. He's gonna, he's got to sleep in it. That's it. No big deal. He's a fighter. He's a warrior. Great. I'm gonna be there to help you out. But I'm not gonna. No, you're not a victim of some of the circumstances that you definitely chose. You know what I'm saying? Like if I end up, if for someone like me that goes so extreme with their diet, so extreme with their behavior, so extreme with their food, I end up getting cancer, I end up getting something, great. I'm going to come back and I'll be able to tell you I'm sorry. I'll be able to be like, hey, you know what? Eating all that good food and eating all that stuff did me no good.
Didn't do shit.
So guess what? I'm the idiot. I'll admit that I'm the idiot. I get cancer, heart disease, or something down the road. Something bad ends up happening. I'll fall on that sword all day. Until then, as far as I'm concerned, if these numbers went up, these numbers went down, then by golly, and did all those people need to obviously die from COVID? No, they didn't need to. We did a lot of extreme measures when COVID first started, right? Like we were able to get everybody a free vaccine, but we couldn't get everybody free water.
Coca-Cola, shit.
Coca-Cola and Smart Water. You couldn't be like, hey, you know what? We're going to swallow $1 billion from Coca-Cola, We still got our proprietary stuff. You can have your, as a matter of fact, we'll up the price of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola could have made more money. They could have said, we're going to double the price of Coca-Cola because we know it's not good for you. They doubled the price of cigarettes. Did it stop anybody from smoking? It went from $5 to, what is it, like $10 a pack in New York City? If you want to buy a pack of cigarettes, $8 a pack. People want it. Great, you want it. Don't be mad with what comes with it. Don't be mad with the cancers. Don't be mad with the other shit. If it happens, it happens. You so sorry for anybody, young, old, going through a lot, because there was some young people that I know suffered. I don't want anybody to go through, anything traumatic, and I feel definitely bad for anybody. But at the end of the day, we had way too many people blaming COVID. And I don't care what you're blaming. You're lacking responsibility. If you're blaming something, you're lacking responsibility. I'm sorry. I can't. I said what I said. That's it.